There's a secret weapon narcissists use that most people don't even notice: the tone of their voice. It's not just what they say, but how they say it that manipulates you into trust, guilt, or fear. I've spent the last 20 years researching self-worth and narcissistic relationships. As a coach, author, and survivor, I teach practical systems to help empower you against manipulation. In this video, you'll learn how to detect one of their most subtle yet telling tactics: their tone of voice, the red flags hidden in everyday conversations, and how to protect yourself. Before we get into the red flags, let's talk about why tone of voice is such a powerful tool for manipulation. It's not just about how it sounds, it's about how your brain reacts to it, often without you even realizing it. Your brain is wired to respond to tone before anything else. It's part of our survival instinct. Long before we had words, tone communicated everything: safety, danger, trust, or hostility. That instinct is still at play today, guiding how we assess people in split seconds. A calm, steady tone tells your brain this person is in control and I can trust them. A warm, empathetic tone signals care and understanding. Even the speed of someone's speech plays a role. A moderate pace conveys confidence, while extremes, like speaking too fast or too slow, make us feel uneasy. Tone also works on an emotional level, often bypassing logic entirely. That's why you might trust someone who speaks calmly, even if something about their words seems off. Your brain prioritizes the safety signal their tone is sending over anything else. Manipulators know how to use tone to influence how you feel. Sometimes it's instinctive, other times it's deliberate. For example, industries like sales and telemarketing spend months training people to perfect their vocal tone, not their scripts or product knowledge, but the way they sound, because tone builds trust, creates excitement, and makes you say yes. If you'd like to dive deeper into understanding narcissism and learn how to make yourself truly unmanipulatable, my latest book, Spot the Narcissist, is linked below. The first red flag is a tone that drips with over-the-top charm, like they're trying just a little too hard to make you feel amazing. This excessively sweet voice is syrupy, overly enthusiastic, and often paired with flattery. This tone often shows up during a phase called love bombing, the phase where narcissists idealize their target to create emotional dependency. At first, everything feels amazing, but over time, this creates a subtle power dynamic. You start craving their approval, feeling like you have to keep earning it, all while chasing that nurturing feeling that they gave you at the start. That's exactly the goal: to make you feel obligated to give them your time, energy, or support in return. A perfect pop culture example of this over-the-top sweet voice is Dolores Umbridge from Harry Potter.
You applied first for the Defense Against the Dark Arts post, is that correct?
Yes.
But you were unsuccessful?
Her overly sweet, saccharine tone is almost nauseating, and yet it masks something sinister. The next red flag is what I call the popular tone. It's that casual, laid-back tone that popular kids in junior high use to sound at ease and above it all, like they're doing you a favor to let you into their inner circle. It's the kind of tone that makes you feel special, like you've been chosen for an exclusive friendship or partnership. This tone is designed to create a false sense of camaraderie while subtly reminding you that you're not quite at their level. The popular tone hijacks your innate sensitivity to social hierarchies. Humans are naturally attuned to cues that signal status and rank within a group. It's a survival mechanism. When someone uses this tone, it reinforces their higher status while making you feel like you need to earn their approval or inclusion. A great pop culture example of this is Regina George from Mean Girls.
Oh my God, I love your skirt. Where did you get it?
It was my mom's in the 80s.
Vintage. So adorable.
Thanks.
That is the ugliest effing skirt I've ever seen.
Her tone is seemingly friendly and effortlessly charming, but there's always this edge of control and condescension. The third red flag is the martyr tone. It's sorrowful and heavy and dripping with self-pity. This tone is carefully crafted to make you feel like you've let them down or that their suffering is somehow your fault. And that's exactly what the narcissist wants. A pop culture example of this is Annie Wilkes from Misery.
This isn't what happened last week. Have you all got amnesia? They just cheated us. This isn't fair. He didn't get out of the duty car.
Her tone is sorrowful, indignant, and always loaded with emotional manipulation. The fourth red flag is the raging tone. This tone is loud, aggressive, and packed with hostility. The goal of this tone isn't to communicate, it's to shock, overwhelm, or terrify you. Narcissists know that most people will do whatever it takes to avoid further conflict, so they use this tone to intimidate you into compliance or silence. While it's highly manipulative because it gets them what they want, this voice isn't carefully crafted. It might sound like anger, but underneath, it's driven by fear of losing their grip on the situation. Over time, this can condition you to tiptoe around them, constantly trying to keep the peace and avoid triggering another outburst. A pop culture example of this is Logan Roy from Succession.
Stop buzzing in my ear!
Well, someone is feeling better.
He uses rage to intimidate and dominate, showing just how far he's willing to go when he feels threatened. The final red flag is the monotone voice. This tone is flat, detached, and emotionless, like they can't even be bothered. It sounds like, sure, whatever, do what you want. On the surface, it might seem harmless, but the real message is clear. You don't matter. The monotone voice often shows up during a devaluation phase of a relationship with a narcissist when they decide that you're no longer as useful or valuable to them as you once were. It's a passive-aggressive way of withdrawing emotional engagement while keeping you hooked. Beneath the apathy lies this repressed anger, a subtle punishment to you for failing to meet their needs or expectations. It's natural to feel like you've done something wrong or to want to fix it, but that's the trap. The more effort you put in to regain their approval, the more control they maintain over the relationship and over you. A perfect example of this is Miranda Priestley.
You have no style or sense of fashion.
I think that depends on what you're...
No. That wasn't a question.
Miranda's clipped, emotionless tone is a masterclass in devaluation. To make yourself unmanipulatable, the 3-second power pause is one of the simplest and most effective tools you can use to protect yourself from tone-based tactics. It's all about interrupting your brain's automatic emotional response to someone's tone, whether it's overly sweet, guilt-inducing, or downright aggressive. By pausing for just 3 seconds before you respond, you regain control over your emotions and decisions. That pause gives you the time and space to assess the situation logically instead of reacting on autopilot. Here's how it works. First, when you notice someone's tone affecting you, pause. Don't rush to respond. Take a slow, deep breath and count to 3 in your head. This tiny break is enough to stop the emotional hijacking that manipulators rely on to throw you off balance. While you're pausing, ask yourself 3 questions. Does their tone match their words and the situation? How do I feel right now? Pressured, guilty, intimidated? And most importantly, what's their possible intent? This self-check keeps you grounded and focused on their behavior, not just on your emotional reaction. Once you've paused and checked in with yourself, you can respond thoughtfully instead of emotionally. For the overly sweet voice, you can say something like, I'll need to think about that, to avoid being swept into their charm. For the popular tone, a calm response like, interesting, why do you say that? Subtly challenges their implied superiority without being confrontational. If you're dealing with a martyr tone, say, I'm sorry you feel that way. It acknowledges their emotions but stops them from guilt-tripping you into action. For a raging tone, calmly state, I'm not comfortable with this conversation right now, and disengage if needed. And finally, the monotone voice. The best response there is no response. Instead of reacting to their dismissal, hold your ground and continue saying what you were saying, as if their indifference has no effect on you. Thanks so much for watching. YouTube thinks you're gonna love this video right here on screen, so click it. It's packed with more tools to spot narcissists, avoid manipulation, and build boundaries that actually work. Don't miss it. It's the next step towards creating the life you deserve. I'll see you over there. Okay, bye.